Hello everyone and welcome to part 35 of my F1 Challenge career mode. I'd firstly like to send out an apology for just how late this episode is compared to the first episode of the 2001 season, which was 3 months ago. I really hope to get this series back on track. I'm sorry, I was quite lazy and I forgot about my channel, to be honest, in the period that I didn't make any videos. But I'll now hand you over to the commentator for the second race of the season.
Just before the free practice session begins, let's take a quick look at the Drivers' Championship. Schumacher is leading the Drivers' Championship and going for back-to-back victories here at Sepang. David Coulthard, second. The BAR driver, third. Well, that covers the drivers. Let's take a quick look at the constructors next. Ferrari lead the Constructors' Championship and are going for back-to-back victories here in Malaysia. McLaren are second. BAR are third. Located approximately 80 kilometers south of Kuala Lumpur, the modern Sepang circuit combines two notable stretches of slow and medium speed turns. This dedicated motorsports facility is the first of a new breed of circuit capable of housing over 100,000 spectators.
So our return to Malaysia gave us monsoon conditions straight off the bat, and I have to say it was something I wasn't expecting, and I'm not very comfortable in the wet anyway, even when I was at the peak of playing this game. And I made many mistakes, like going off here in the first turn, just understeering wide and then struggling to get it pointing in the right direction. But then we were kind of matching the pace of the AI. It wasn't too bad, but we did make a lot of mistakes, and we were just hoping that it would dry out in this session. Unfortunately it didn't, but in the later sessions it was dry, but I carried on pushing in this session anyway. But eventually I had a spin and that ended my wet session. I did quite a few laps. I think in total I did about 9 or 10 laps in the wet, which is quite a lot, to be honest, because it's nearly a 2-minute lap time. I really wasn't feeling it, but practice 3 was nice and dry and the car felt good again, and it felt like it did back in Australia. And as you can see, Rubens Barrichello set a 1:40.4, which is a good 18 seconds quicker than we were in the wet. And I did a 40.2. I was really pleased with my pace in practice, and I knew that if I could get a low 40 or a high 39, then I have a really good chance of a really good starting position, maybe in the top 4. So as we go out for qualifying, we're on our first lap here. We've got traffic of a Benetton. I think it's Jenson Button took too much curb in the second to last corner as we slipstream Button down the back straight, and this is a great help for our top line speed, but I feel like he's not going to be able to get out of the way. And no, it's Fisichella, not Jenson Button, as we go into the brake zone for the last corner. I love this last corner. On this game it's just perfectly angled and the car just feels so good through there. As we go up to line, what's the time going to be? It's going to be a 1:40.2. It's almost exactly what we say in practice, but on the next lap, if you look at the split in the top right, we are currently nearly 2/10 up, so we could be into the 1:39s. Oh, it's 1:39s, keeping on the right hand side. And it's a 1:39.5. It's a huge improvement, 7/10 in that last sector. And then on the next lap we're improving even further. Look at the split in the top right, and we have now set a 39.3. That might even be good enough for pole position, as I'll now hand you over to the grid to see where we are.
Hello there. Welcome to Malaysia for round 2 of the 2001 FIA Formula 1 World Championship. With drizzle in the air and a slightly damp circuit, these are the sort of conditions that the great drivers thrive on. The BAR driver starts his race from first. Hakkinen, second. Michael Schumacher, third. David Coulthard failed to get anywhere near the pace of his championship rival, the BAR driver. Barrichello, fifth. Juan Pablo Montoya, sixth. Schumacher, seventh. Raikkonen, eighth. Irvine, ninth. Villeneuve was way off the pace of his teammate. He starts in 10th. Fisichella, 11th. Yano Trulli, 12th. Jensen Button, 13th. Jonna Lacey, 14th. Heinz Harald Frentzen, 15th. Verstappen, 16th. Nick Heidfeld, 17th. Alonso, 18th. Pedro de la Rosa, 19th. Berti, 20th. Tarso Marquez, 21st. Bernoldi, 22nd.
So here we are for round 2 of the 2001 season, and I realised on the grid that all the AI are starting at intermediate tyres while I'm on softs. Now the projected conditions were dry, but we'll see whether they're on the right tyres for the start, and it doesn't look like it has been swamped by the top 3. Both McLarens and Michael Schumacher go through into the lead and down to 4th from pole as we go round the outside of David Coulthard. Can we overtake David Coulthard round the outside? No, we're getting too much understeer. I think it's just too wet for these tyres. A lot of spray being kicked up from their intermediates as we try to cut underneath David Coulthard, but the drive out the corner, you can definitely see these tyres are not the ones for the conditions, and the intermediates are. We've got Juan Pablo Montoya all over the back of us going into turn 4, a very difficult, slow corner with a lot of bumps as we go into the corner, and we just about get it going, but look at the time we're losing to David Coulthard. We're a second behind him already as we go wide in the very fast left-hander, this high downforce area. We are likely to just fall off the road as we go wide the next corner. Look at Juan Pablo Montoya just going into the distance. We've got Rubens Barrichello down our inside as we're trying to hold on. Unfortunately, we're on the gravel just like Rubens Barrichello. We've got no grip and we've spun round the car and we're down to 9th. We've got Fernando Alonso and the Minardi somehow running in 10th place here, so that's an amazing achievement for him for now, as we're struggling to get it going again, and we're just about keeping Fernando Alonso behind. I think we're going to have to pit at the end of this lap, and we do pit at the end of this lap, nearly missing the pit lane, embarrassingly. But that means we're going to fall to the back of the pack, but unfortunately these tyres were the wrong ones for the conditions as it is still raining, and we need the intermediate tyre. So into our pit stop. I did forget the button to request a pit stop. I did discover it later on in the race, but I did forget it, so that means it's going to be quite a slow pit stop from the BAR guys. No more fuel going in because we won't be able to fuel until the end, unfortunately. We didn't go far enough. But let's see what the pit stop is like. Let's see what the time is. It's a 12.5 second pit stop as we're coming right beside Kimi Räikkönen. That was a very unsafe exit from the pit there. We nearly crashed straight into Räikkönen. We've got Berti in front of us, about 10 seconds in front of us. That shouldn't take very long to catch up considering how slow these cars are. We've got Marquez now in the Minardi, who's falling behind Berti in the Prost. As we're slipstreaming Marquez, I'm going to overtake him into turn 9. Yes, we are. We're even going to go down the inside of Berti. Those cars are so slow that I was catching them at 5 seconds a lap on the same tyre in wet conditions, which I say I'm not very confident in. But we caught up Enrico Bernoldi. Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce his name. We're slipstreaming him. Are we going to get him into turn 4? Not quite. There is a drier line appearing, and there is a lot more grip on it. But we're hoping to get down the inside at turn 4 on lap 4. And have we got him? Yes, we have got Jensen Button 6 seconds up the road as we move ourselves up into 17th place. And at the end of lap 4, there was a huge group of cars who were really slow. They were probably stuck behind Fernando Alonso, which is the reason why they're so slow. And they're actually pitting for the wet tyres. The teams were saying how wet it was, and it was projected this was dry. It just shows that the slicks wouldn't have worked. As we go round the final corner, you can see they're all peeling into the pits. Fernando Alonso did a great job of holding them all up for me, as I'm going to jump a load of people in the pits, which will be a positive thing for me. I hope that I don't have to switch to the wet tyres. That's the gamble I'm going to take. I pretty much ruined a good portion of my race by starting on the slicks, so I may as well stay out on the intermediates. We've got Jacques Villeneuve, my teammate, in front of me, which I can't say I like being beaten by my teammate. But going into the difficult turn 9, and we're right behind Jacques Villeneuve. Are we going to get him on the drive out of this corner? It's a little bit drier in this part of the track, and yes he is. He's pretty slow there. We're going to go down the inside of this very difficult right-hander, and we have got him. We've now got Pedro La Rosa in the Jaguar in front of us, and are we going to get past him soon? Through this fast left-hander, I have to lift off, shift down a gear. It's usually flat out in the dry, as we're going to go down the inside. Are we in the second to last corner? Yes we are. This is one of the games where the AI aren't OP in that second to last corner, so that's something nice to see. As we've got Heinz Harald Frentzen in front of us on lap 6, and we're looking for a way past and up into 7th place. It's only one place outside the points. Unfortunately, the points don't go down to 10th in this race, otherwise we'd be okay. But we go down the inside of Frentzen. Very surprised he didn't come back up our inside with the drive he had, but he gave up. And then on lap 11 we actually caught up Ralf Schumacher at the end of the point. He's on the wet tyres, and as you can see it is drying out, but there's still a lot of spray off of line. But the intermediates are now the correct tyre to be on, surprise surprise. So I've actually skipped out a pit stop. Everyone else is on the wets. The wets don't seem to be doing too badly in these conditions though, as Ralf Schumacher doesn't pit just yet. But a lot of the cars in front are, like Mika Hakkinen is in the McLaren, and you could definitely see a dry line along this pit straight. Because of the shadow from the grandstands, you can actually really see it, but it's really difficult to see otherwise. But on lap 12 I decided to pit because it's just getting too dry for these intermediates and I was losing time to keep in front. So coming into the pit lane then, and I've requested my pit stop this time, so it should be a bit faster. We're just ahead of Ralf Schumacher. Let's hope that we can keep in front as we pull into our pit box. Now, it's not our pit box. I've run over a load of Williams guys, which is a bit horrible of us, but let's see what the pit stop is like. Oh, we've lost position to Ralf Schumacher. Unfortunately, it didn't give us the time of the pit stop for some reason. I thought it would do. But Ralf Schumacher's jumped us in the pits. Hopefully we can get him back. But unfortunately, it's drying conditions here, and I can't say that I'm that confident on the dry tyres in wet conditions, especially the way the AI drive. Because on the dry line, the car is fine, tyres are fine. But if you go slightly onto the wet, and the wet doesn't seem to be drying very quickly, I thought it would dry quicker than it has done so far in this race. It's taken a good 6 or 7 laps to dry the point of intermediates without any rain as we break into turn 4, and we're losing time to our Schumacher, 1.3 seconds behind him, and that's not so good as we're going slightly wide there. And then the second half we do go very wide, and you just see how much understeer we're getting. The car's just not turning in, we're on the gravel and we're losing so much time to Ralf Schumacher, and we could be chucking away our chance of points as we go into the final corner. We're on the wet on the right hand side and our car's spun round. We're going to have to spin it round. Unfortunately the clutch pedal wasn't working. I don't know why, it must have unassigned itself or something like that. But we're now going again. Unfortunately we're now behind Frentzen as well. I think Ralf Schumacher overtook Frentzen as we then spin at turn 4, and this is just getting embarrassing now, as it takes an absolute age to get the car pointing in the right direction. And we've still got a good half of the race to go, and we are falling off the track all of the time. On the dry line it's perfectly fine, and this is where the AI are really OP, as we managed to just about save the car there, because when they go on the wet it's still okay for them, like when they go on the grass when they're overtaking. As we make more and more mistakes, and this is the worst one because trying to get back to the track with the understeer on the gravel was just chronic. We couldn't get back on, and Jack Villeneuve was even catching us up, which is embarrassing. However, I was really struggling in these conditions. The AI were OP, and unfortunately I think we could have got a win here really if it was completely dry, as you then hit the wall on lap 23, and that's ruined any chance of any points. I mean, the only chance of points really was if people started crashing in front of us, but we rejoined the track in 10th after a pit stop, and again we were struggling. I mean, I was keeping up with the AI if I managed to stick truly to just the dry line, but it's so difficult to see. And then I got lapped by the leaders, and it looked like a three-way battle for the lead, which is just sensational, between the McLaren of David Coulthard, the Ferrari of Rubens Barrichello, and David Coulthard and Mika Hakkinen, one of them I think. No, one Polo Montoya, that's it, up front. But then they were lapping a Minardi, David Coulthard braked right in front of me, and I have nowhere to go, and that was completely unexplained. That was entirely his fault. He brake checked me effectively, and I decided to try and do last lap without a front wing because it wasn't really worth it trying to keep Jan Trulli behind, but he managed to look. See, that's how overpowered the AI on the water. I could not get that turn in ever. As we then crossed the line, really disappointing 11th place, and my driver decided to stop on the racing line, which Frentzen just absolutely destroyed his car and my car by crashing into me. And then a Jaguar comes along as well, and he ends up rolling. So a big accident at the end of the race, but I'll now hand you over to the results.
It's been a scintillating Malaysian Grand Prix. Let's take a look at the final results. Juan Pablo Montoya first. Barrichello second. Schumacher third. Mika Hakkinen fourth. Frentzen fifth. Ralph Schumacher, 6th. The BAR driver, 11th.
So a disappointing result in terms of points, but it has to be said that was a really exciting race. I didn't feel at any point bored about it. I was really enjoying myself on this game again, and I hope to continue this series, and I hope it was entertaining for all of you as we look over the driver standings.
With the results confirmed, it's high time we updated the Drivers' Championship. Michael Schumacher first.
So we are now 5th in the driver standings, but more importantly, I think we are ahead of our two former teammates. Mika Häkkinen and Ralph Schumacher are still behind us. Obviously our podium in Australia helped with that, but we'll now look at the constructor standings.
Ferrari move further ahead at the top of the Constructors' Championship. Williams are 2nd, followed by the 3rd place McLaren.
So BAR are in 4th place, but we are not that far ahead of Jordan, and if we keep on having those kind of poor results, then Jordan will catch up and beat us. But I really hope you enjoyed the return of this series. Remember to press like if you do. I'd like to see all your support, and I will carry on, of course, if there is more and more support for it. I don't know whether you've gone off it or whether you're more excited for F1 2015 or Project Cars or whatever. But I would say goodbye for now, and the next video will be coming in probably about 3 weeks. So I'm going on holiday, unfortunately, but I hope to bring more consistent videos after that.